The first thing Daniel Wright noticed wasn't the numbers on his screen or the view from the 42nd floor. It was the lunchbox in his hands. Plain. Worn. Too light for a woman who worked 12-hour days. He didn't know why his chest felt tight as he opened it. He only knew that something small, something ordinary, was about to quietly change his life. Before the story begins, take a moment to support the channel. If stories of kindness, humanity, and quiet miracles move you, subscribe to Kindness Diaries, tap like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps keep these real human stories alive. Daniel Wright was a self-made millionaire, the kind people admired from a distance. He built a tech company from nothing, slept in his office during the early years, and believed discipline was the highest form of respect. His employees saw him as fair, serious, and untouchable. He rarely smiled, rarely spoke about his past, and never crossed professional lines. Emily Carter had worked at Wright Solutions for 3 years. She was quiet, dependable, and always stayed late. She never complained, never asked for favors, and never joined office gossip. Most people barely noticed her. Daniel noticed her work. That was all, or so he thought. One afternoon, the office cafeteria closed unexpectedly due to a power issue. Employees scattered for takeout, but Emily stayed at her desk. Daniel passed by and noticed her pulling a small beige lunchbox from her bag. He stopped without thinking. Did you bring lunch?" he asked, surprised by his own voice. Emily looked startled. "Yes, sir. I usually do." Daniel nodded, then hesitated. Mind if I ask what you packed?" The question hung awkwardly between them. Emily smiled politely and opened the box. Inside was a modest meal. Rice, a few steamed vegetables, and half an apple cut neatly into slices. Daniel frowned. "Is that enough?" Emily shrugged gently. "It gets me through the day." Something about her tone bothered him. Not defensive, not sad, just honest. Later that evening, Daniel couldn't focus. The lunchbox stayed in his mind. He remembered his own childhood lunches, or the lack of them, his mother working 2 jobs. The shame of pretending he wasn't hungry at school. The next day, he called Emily into his office. She stood nervously, hands folded. Did I do something wrong?" No," Daniel said quickly. "I just noticed you've been staying late consistently. I wanted to thank you." Emily relaxed a little. "I like my work." Daniel hesitated, then said, "You don't eat much." Her eyes flickered. "I eat enough." There it was again, that calm honesty. Over the following weeks, Daniel found himself noticing Emily more. Not in a romantic way. At least not at first. He noticed how she refilled the coffee machine without being asked. How she helped new hires without seeking credit. How she smiled when others were stressed. One evening, a storm hit the city. Employees rushed home early, but Emily stayed, finishing. When she finally stood to leave, rain was pouring hard. Do you have a ride?" he asked. "I'll take the bus," she said. "It's dangerous tonight," Daniel replied. "Let me drive you." She hesitated, then nodded. During the drive, silence filled the car. Then Emily spoke softly. "Thank you." "You didn't have to." Daniel glanced at her. "Oh, why do you always say that?" She smiled faintly. Because I've learned not to expect kindness." The words landed heavy. At a red light, Daniel asked, "Do you live alone?" With my younger brother," she said. "He's in high school." That night, Daniel went home unsettled. He had money, power, comfort. Yet the woman who worked hardest under him lived with so little and carried it with grace. The next day, Daniel arranged for catered lunches to be delivered for the whole team. No announcement, no credit. Emily looked surprised when she saw the food. "That's new," she said. Daniel shrugged. "Everyone deserves a good meal." Emily smiled, and something warm settled in his chest. Weeks passed. Small gestures followed. Flexible hours. A quiet bonus slipped into Emily's paycheck labeled a performance appreciation. She came to his office, eyes shining. You didn't have to do this," she said. "I wanted to," Daniel replied. One evening, Emily stayed late again. Daniel found her rubbing her temples. "Are you okay?" he asked. She sighed. My brother needs books for school." "I'll figure it out." Daniel didn't offer money. Instead, he connected her brother with a scholarship program the company sponsored. When Emily found out, she cried, not loudly, just a tear sliding down her cheek. No one's ever helped me like this," she whispered. Daniel felt something crack open inside him. He realized then it wasn't admiration he felt. It wasn't responsibility. It was love, born not from attraction, but from shared humanity. Months later, Emily brought him something small. A lunchbox. I made you lunch, she said, embarrassed. To say thank you. Inside was a simple meal. Rice, vegetables, an apple cut into slices. He laughed softly, eyes misting. This is the best lunch I've ever had. From that day on, they ate together sometimes, talked about life, dreams, loss, kindness. Love grew quietly, without pressure, without power imbalance, without expectation. Daniel eventually stepped back from being her direct supervisor. When he asked Emily to dinner, it wasn't as a boss, but as a man. Years later, Daniel often spoke about success at conferences. Not about money. About noticing people. About the courage it takes to be kind when no one is watching. He kept that lunchbox in his office. Not as a reminder of poverty, but as a reminder of love. Because sometimes kindness doesn't arrive loudly. Sometimes it sits quietly in a lunchbox, waiting to be seen. And when we choose to see it, it can change everything. If this story touched your heart, let it remind you that small acts matter. A meal, a ride home, a moment of care. You never know whose life or whose heart you might change through kindness. Keep spreading it and keep sharing these stories with Kindness Diaries.